And that basically sums up my day. Hey guys, a warm welcome back to the channel. It's day 2 on the grey 308 project, and hopefully today we're going to have a little bit more success getting this one back up and running and on the road where it belongs. Anyway, let's kick off with a little bit more troubleshooting and see if we can find out why this baby is not starting. Okay, so we come in the inside of the car. As you can see, I've got it stripped out quite a lot here because I've been trying to sort out this problem. So I've got paperwork, fuse is out. Now we put the key in. I'm going to try and turn this over. As you can hear, nothing. Now, if I then take the relay out for the fuel pump, which is quite difficult, pop that up there. Watch this. And boom. Okay, so basically what's happening is fuel is going in when I've got the relay in, and if I take it out, it will kind of turn over and burn off that fuel. Now, what you're going to say is, what happens if I put the relay in halfway through? So, let me show you. First of all, this needs to add a bit of fuel. Nothing. Right, let's get ready with this one. Let's get it running. That's my top part there. Okay, pop that in. Dead. So, we are trying to trace that fault. That's the major fault with this car, and it was running. The car drove here, so I'm not exactly sure what is going on. I did play around with relays trying to get the black car running, so might be that I've put the wrong one in there. I'm going to check that out, and I also need to do a few things in the back. So let's go to the back of the car and have a look. So we're going to kick off by doing a simple compression test. Now you're probably wondering, why didn't I do that to start with? Well, actually I did this a few months ago, and the compressions were all good on all 8 cylinders at the time. However, having to think about it last night, the car has just literally sat still for months, and I can't guarantee everything is still working okay. So we're going to start from scratch and do this. First thing we need to do is remove all 8 spark plugs, which on most cars is okay. On these, on that front bank, is so tight, it's an absolute nightmare. Now, as I said, it's a nightmare getting out the spark plugs from this front bank. However, it is slightly more easy on the GTSI because we don't have the spoiler here as we do on the QV here. So it's a lot easier to get your arm down and have a bit more access down there. So there's always a way that makes these things a little bit more bearable. So I've got a socket there, some extenders, and I use a small little ratchet because it allows for a little bit more kind of movement down there. Loosen them all up, and then what I do is I get one of my spark plug extenders, take one of these off, one of those, go down, kind of fish it out, and there you go. Now, in the last video, a lot of you guys spotted and commented on all of these weeds and bushes that need to be sorted out. And well, we'll get to those, but first, there's another bush that needs far more maintenance. Lexi, what are you doing up there? What's all that smoke?
I'm really sorry about the noise. I'm just having a little trim and I can't find the right tool to tackle the job.
Crikey, love, you need this. It's the Manscaped 4.0 with its powerful performance from a 7,000 RPM motor. It can handle all terrain and leave you with an ultra smooth finish. Plus, with its quiet stroke technology, means you can hardly hear it, unlike your other tools. And it's waterproof too, so you can even use it in the shower while you're singing your favourite song.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle.
So if you want the supercar of shavers, you need to get your hands on the Lawnmower 4 from Manscaped. And right now, if you click on my link below, you're going to save 20% on your Manscaped orders. I've got to say a massive thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Compression tester is now set up in cylinder number 1. I'm going to go around all 8, and I've also removed the fuel relay. Now let's have a little competition. Can I get all of these done before you guys can click on the like button, hit the bell notification, and leave a comment below if you think this is all going to be within spec. Let's go. So number 1 is about 165. Let's hit for number 2. Okay, we're done. Who won this one? The results are in. All 8 cylinders we have between 155 and 165. So our deviation is just a little bit over 6%, which is cool. That's what I'm happy with. That's kind of what you want to see on this. Don't forget, this engine is very old and it hasn't been used and run for at least 4 years. It's been run once really, but other than that, it's had one kind of drive. So quite happy with the results that we got considering. Next job today is we've got a few little things that we're going to be doing that I've noticed while we've been working on it. So we've got a fuel accumulator here. This has a small diaphragm and it sits right next to the fuel pump, and it's all part of the pressure for the system here. Typically, if these go wrong, you'll have hot start problems. But as I look at mine, I can see there's fuel dripping out of it, and that normally means that the diaphragm in this has split. I'm going to show you what I mean. I need to take the wheel off and just get down, right down into the corner down there, because they're in the most awkward place possible. So if I pull this connector off or I just push this down, the fuel pump will run, and then we'll have a look at the little nozzle on the fuel accumulator down there. There you go. Just leaking. Typically that will mean that the diaphragm has gone on this thing. Now I have run the fuel pump quite a lot without firing the engine, so we don't want to cause any potential locking up or seizing up where we've got a load of fuel in those cylinders. So what I'm going to quickly just do before I do anything else is just get this on the crank pulley down there and just turn it over by hand. There it is. A lot of planes today flying over, it's a nice day. There we go. Okay, we're going to do full. There we go, you can hear the fuel in it just kind of gurgling. That's better. So look at this. This is the pipe coming off the tank, and as you can see, there's hardly anything coming out of there now. There's probably a little bit in there, not a lot, but more than that for sure. And I feel the pipe. We're going to cut this open. Let's get it off and cut it open and see what happens. Okay. Incision. This is the inner pipe. It's just literally, look at the state of that. Look at the state of that. There's nothing to it. Wow. Okay, so that definitely needed changing. let's put a new pipe on there. Now the other thing I'm going to be installing while I'm in there is a fuel filter. That is our new accumulator in place. Remember, we've already replaced the fuel pump because the old one was faulty. So the next item we're going to be changing is this fuel filter. Now that's part of the service kit, so we're going to be changing it anyway, but there's more than one reason I want to change that. The other reason is, as I mentioned earlier, the pipe here that comes from the fuel tank into the fuel pump had completely disintegrated. This is the replacement one, but the old one had collapsed. When we cut it open, there were bits just about everywhere. So the chances are that has gone through this entire system. So the old fuel pump, the accumulator, and probably sat lodged in the old fuel filter. So it's not going to be helping anything. So we're going to change everything, and that's going to give me peace of mind that we have cleaned out the system. Got it?
Yeah.
Cool, that's it there. And then I've got another.
Perfect.
Good. Now, nothing. It's overfueling. This car is overfueling, I can guarantee it. Okay, what it appears that we have got happening here is we know we have got spark on both banks, so that's good. It seems like we have got fuel just flooding in and it's not shutting off, which can really only be the metering unit or my fuel pump is faulty. Now I think my gut tells me it's going to be something to do with this, so I'm going to just run a few little tests and see if we can narrow this down. So here's the plan. This is the fuel distributor, and they're notoriously bad. So what we're going to do on this one is I'm going to just verify to see if this is just sticking and just allowing fuel to flood into the engine. Now that's my theory. Like I say, I'm very lucky I've got the other car. Now they might not be exactly the same. That is a US spec black one, this is a Euro spec. But what it should do, it might run, but it might run rough, but at least it will verify there is a problem with this. So we're going to switch the two over. What I do have is a rebuild kit for this, or I can get a rebuild kit for this very quickly and very easily. So before I do that, I am just going to verify that this is the problem. Okay, we're good. This is the one out of the QV. Let's see if it works. Okay, let's try this. Now you turn it over, Josh. Right, let me just see if I can get my finger on that. Yeah, okay, go on then.
Do it now?
Yep. Whoa, shut it off, shut it off. And that basically sums up my day. Now, fuel pouring out of a car like that is extremely dangerous, and on a 308 it's actually quite common. Now, I will tell you why I know that, because when I was driving an old 308 a while ago now, the same thing happened to me, and I was unaware that there was fuel pouring out of it, and it ended up looking like this. Basically, that extra fuel, that unburnt fuel, caught fire and burnt the complete back end of my 308. Now, it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as it actually looks in the picture. It was just the rear end here. There is this storage compartment at the back of the car, and it didn't go into any of that. It didn't touch any of the engine. So it's this rear panel, the lights that all melted, and the ghastly big picnic table American back bumper. So we changed all that anyway and fixed it up quite easily. However, what actually happened, if I show you on the car, was one of the HT leads had come off the coil pack, just like this. Yeah, it wasn't seated correctly, so we had a full bank receiving loads of fuel but being unburnt, and it was working its way through the system, and it sat in the exhaust, and then at some point that just ignited. So I had, oh, mind those, I had 8-foot flames coming out of the car. Someone flagged me down, and I pulled in, fortunately, to a hotel. They had fire extinguishers. I used them all. We put the car out. Was very lucky I pulled into there, because the next exit was a petrol station, and it wouldn't have looked too good pulling into a petrol station with a Ferrari on fire. Would have caused a little bit of a problem and a bit of panic. Anyway, we rectified that one, but that is what will happen if you don't have the car running correctly. So we need to figure out what is going on with this one. Okay, so we're in the dry, shocking weather here in the UK. So we're in the conservatory. You might have a little bit of echo in here, sorry about that. Got all of our essentials, including a cup of this stuff. And we have our fuel distributor here that was very common in a lot of cars during the 80s. This one is a Bosch unit, and it's used in the Ferrari 308s. There's a very similar one on a 512. As you can see, the difference really is these heads here. So 8 cylinders. This runs the whole car on a Ferrari 308. On the 512, the 12-cylinder cars, you've got 2 of these with a 6-port head on the top. So today what we're going to do, we have verified that basically this was causing our non-start problem. It seems like there is something jammed in here, and it's fully open, just allowing all the fuel to flood in. So basically what we have here, 6 ports up here. These run to each of our cylinder heads to the injectors on a hard line from here to the top. We have an input, we have an output here which feeds back to the tank. This comes in from the tanks. Then we have 2 here which are our warm-up regulators, and then this one up here goes to our cold start valve, and then we've just got the one connector here. Got this kind of float system which will work if it's the right way up. Anyway, we're going to strip this down, we're going to give it a good old clean up, but what I have is a kit which consists of a load of little gaskets and everything that is needed to do a rebuild on one of these things. That was about just over £50, and so we're going to just go through that, just clean this all up and see how it goes. So this is the underside, and well, I can't see anything here apart from this little, that was jammed up, so I have lubricated that up and it's moving freely. Other than that, I know this actually seems to work okay, because when it's in its position like this, if I unplug this, the fuel pump works. That means the switch is working fine, and if I press this kind of float system down, again the fuel pump will engage. So this all seems to be set up correctly. That is the only thing that I can find that is a bit of a problem. I'm going to clean this up, lubricate it anyway. Other than that, I'm going to try not to really touch anything on this because it does look like this is working okay. Okay, so here's a little update on this one. I think I figured out what is going on with this. Plunger here in the middle, this thing should pop in and out freely. Now, it was sticking out a little bit. I've pushed it in, but as you can see, no matter what, it won't come back out. Now, I don't want to get any pliers on it and risk damaging it, so my plan is we're going to split this apart. I've got the rebuild kit anyway, so we're going to do that at the same time. I'm not going to adjust any screws or anything like that. We're just going to do the bare amount of minimum. I am pretty sure this is the problem. So we're going to add some heat to this. So you can use a heat gun or a hairdryer. We're going to just use a hairdryer, start splitting it apart and just have a look inside. It's starting to come now. As you can see, there's a load of springs in there. I just want to do it real carefully. Voila! Okay, so, and that one came from there. Okay, finally we managed to get the plunger out from here. Had to be really careful with this because we just didn't want to damage anything, but you can see there's no pitting on it. Nothing in there either. That all looks good. So it just needs a clean up. It was just stuck with some really old fuel. So we're going to tidy everything up, clean all of this up as well. I'm not going to take any of these little bits here because clearly we were getting fuel through the car. It was just flooding. So we're going to change the O-rings, the nice gasket that sits here, and then put it all back together. So we've cleaned this up, and as you can see, look at that nice smooth movement. My hands are a bit grubby, but we'll give it a final clean up before we put it all back together. But there you go. That was definitely causing us a big problem. Okay, so now all we got to do is switch these back over, put the original one back on the car and see what happens. Keep those fingers crossed. A little bit of an air kind of leak, sounded like over there somewhere. Other than that, it seemed pretty good. Let's try it again. Okay, so we got the engine running, which is great, and it's not backfiring, so hopefully that was just the case that we had the American spec fuel distributor in the car. Still not 100% convinced myself, but it's running kind of really low at the moment. It's definitely not running right. There are a few things that are obvious with this though. We had an air leak from this pipe here which runs into the throttle body, and at the same time obviously we had a lot of problems with this fuel distributor here with all of the old fuel causing it to stick. The other part of this is the warm-up regulator here, so we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to I've got a rebuild kit for this. We're going to crack it open and just hopefully sort that one out. In the meantime, what I've done is I've ordered a service kit for this car. I've ordered a cam belt kit as well from my guys at Super Performance. Hopefully that will turn up tomorrow and we'll do a full service on this car at the same time. It's been a long time since this car has been serviced, so it's well overdue. Well guys, there you go. That's all we got time for on the 308 today. We have definitely improved it. I'm not 100% sure though that we have fixed it fully. I'm sure there are a few more gremlins that we're going to have to iron out on this 308 before it's perfect once again. We've got the service kit, we've got the cam belt kit on order. That's all going into the car on the next one. We're going to be changing all the fluids, and hopefully we are going to get this car up and running and purring again. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, you can check out what I get up to on a daily basis over on my social medias, Instagram, Facebook, everything else. Until the next time guys, stay safe. Ciao for now.